Hello, it's Daniel Hussey here. Welcome along to my Cheltenham Day 1 final selections and preview. I know a lot of people enjoyed the videos last year. I was doing it for my own podcast, Tackling Sport. I'm now working for the Matchbook Betting Exchange. So I said I would use their YouTube channels to hopefully reach a wider audience. So if you are liking the video, do hit that like button. We'd really appreciate that. And any comments if you're enjoying the content, or let me know your festival nap, because I found day 1 particularly hard. I do have stronger fancies for day 2 and 3, but I would love to kind of hear from you guys on what your festival nap is, and maybe you can persuade me to back it as well. So look, I know you guys are here for the tips, so let's get straight into it. Nice and bite size. Starting off with the Supreme. Look, the top 2 in the betting are probably well clear here in terms of what they've done so far. Constitution Hill and Dicer Dynamo. For me, marginal preference will be for Dicer Dynamo. I do think that Paul Townend will be able to dictate fractions, either leading or perhaps maybe following Kilcrud, his stablemate, under Patrick Mullins. So I do think Dicer Dynamo 3.5, like around the 5-2 mark in all money. I think he's worth a really good bet here, because I do think he'll go off a little bit shorter. I definitely think he'll be clear favorite on the day. So we're recording this at about 5:15 on Monday. So Dicer Dynamo for me. If you want one at a price that may sneak into the places, it's Bring on the Night. The Willie Muns is third string. Now, he only ran in the maiden hurdle there last month at Naas. I was actually at that race, and I was really impressed the way he quickened up through the line. He did a lot wrong that day, so he will definitely come on a lot for the run. There's plenty of improvement there. Look, I'll be honest with you, the race probably comes a little bit too soon in his career, but I think there's a really good horse there. And I don't know, if Brian Cooper rides him really quiet, they get competitive early, he could run on for a place, because he'll definitely be ridden to run on for a place. So my 2 selections there are Dicer Dynamo, win, and then maybe Bring on the Night in the place market. Moving on to the Arkle. Blue Lord is a horse I've really fancied anti-post for this race. Now, I was overall a little bit disappointed with his Irish Arkle performance. To me, there was probably mitigating circumstances that haven't quite, first of all, he still won the race. A lot of the race, he was lined up to the right of Riviere de Tel, who jumps a little bit to the right. And I think that maybe put him off a little bit in the middle part of the race. And obviously, look, Riviere de Tel made the mistake at the last, and Blue Lord went on to win. But Paul Townend rides him. He could have obviously rode Hot on Clore, St. Sam. I think that's enough there. And I think he's been forgotten about the market. He's drifting at the moment, Blue Lord. He's out to 5.8 on the exchange, Matchbook Betting Exchange currently. So I think that's a bet for me. I think he's a really good price there, considering that, before that Irish Arkle, he was maybe at the 4.0 mark. If you want another one at a price here, I do like Magic Days. I think she has excuses last time out, given how out of form the stable were under Henry de Bromhead in December. She lost to Concertista. She ended up coming third. If she gets her way out in front, I know there will be a bit of pace on this race, but if you do want one at the front of the pace, I do think Magic Days is a decent price there, nearly 20.0. So yeah, they're my 2 there. So that's Magic Days at a bigger price, and Blue Lord would be my main fancy in that race. Moving on to the Ultima. This is a horse that I've backed anti-post again, and I'm probably a little bit biased, but I know a lot of the videos last year, I kind of deserted a couple of anti-post horses that ended up winning. So maybe that's playing a part. Although right now I can see there's a massive drift on Does He Know for Kim Bailey. But I still really like him. He's 15.0. He's not being backed because of his run at Ascot. And it's kind of been viewed that previous years' horses have struggled to bring that form from Ascot to Cheltenham, given the length of time, too short a time to recover between runs. But I don't know. I think he ticks a lot of boxes. He was actually very impressive that day at Ascot, but he does bring Cheltenham form. Happy Go Lucky was second for the same trainer, well back favourite, and ended up winning at Aintree. So Kim Bailey wouldn't run him here, considering he wasn't going to run him, or was at least considering not running him. But look, he does get a little bit excited, so that's something to watch, maybe prelims. But I'm happy enough 15.0. I'm not going to desert him at this stage. And I just couldn't not have a second horse here, given who I'm about to tip up. But last year's winner is 32.0 currently, Vintage Clouds. He defied all the stats last year to win at 11 years of age. All we're asking is he does it again and maybe wins it at 12. Now, the thing with Vintage Clouds is I saw a lot of promise in this last run in Doncaster. He looked as good as ever. He's now got cheap pieces fitted in. It's his second run since a wind-up. He's going to be primed for this race. I don't think they would run him here unless they really thought he could do well. He's ran well in previous editions of the Ultimate. I think that form from last year isn't working out too badly. As I said, Happy Go Lucky did bolt up at Aintree subsequently from coming second to Vintage Cloud. So I can see him leading at the front for a long way, and what's better than back in the grey? So that's Vintage Clouds at a bigger price, and Does He Know is probably my 2 fancies for the Ultima. Champion Hurdle. Look, last year I put up Franco de Port without the favourite in the Arkle. I remember this because they had a wide camera shot, and all you could see was Franco de Port literally at the back of the telly. and they wouldn't just leave him alone, rule him out. And I think I sometimes force a bet a bit without the favourite. So this is a perfect example of a race where I'm just going to sit back and watch. Yes, Honeysuckles is in a few anti-post multiples, but overall, I'm just going to cheer her on. Really hope she wins, and I don't want to force a bet. Like I can make you can make a case for loads of these horses maybe without the favourite. It's going to be very fascinating to see how Appreciate it does, but I won't spend too long on this race. It's a no bet race for me in the Champion Hurdle. Moving on to the Mares Hurdle, and this is a race I've struggled with anti-post and right up until deciding who to back here. But I really like the confidence of the Gordon Elliott camp on Queensbrook. She ran last time out, losing to Burning Victory, but she was ridden very quietly, and given that she was only 75% fit according to Gordon Elliott, I'm really expecting a massive run here. They really fancy her, and look, the Gordon Elliott stable, they're usually confident enough in their horses, but this is particularly strong. It's going to put in a lot of charity bets and stuff like that. Sometimes it's as simple as that. I think she's probably the most likely winner. Like, Tell Me Something Girl is definitely up there and is probably worthy to be up there, given that she won the Mares Novice last year. That is over a different course. That's over the new course. This is over the old course. This is also 2.5 miles, and it was 2 miles last year. So I'm happy with Queensbrook in that race, and that's my only selection in the Mares Hurdle. Moving on to the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. Now, look, I like everyone got a bit excited with Gaelic Warrior, may have thrown him in a few anti-post multiples, etc. But just to give people a bit of context, he's the short price favourite under Willie Mullins. Has never run in the UK or Ireland, has run over in France off a mark of 139. Was actually given a mark here by the British handicapper of 129, so effective £10 well in. And also the race in France is working out very well. It's just, I'm back in that. It's a 22 runner handicap. A lot of stuff, like the horse has never run over in the UK and Ireland, like I mentioned, but there's the track. There's just a lot of variables. I'm going to go against him and maybe just pretend. I think I heard David Jennings say, just pretend the horse isn't in the race. I think that's a good way of looking at it. I really like the Tide Turns. I thought he ran well in the spring Juvenile Hurdle, finishing fourth. They got him qualified then in the Red Mills Trial Hurdle a couple of weeks later. So he's got his 3 runs. He's got his mark. Yeah, Gordon Elliott knows how to win the Boodles. And obviously without Gaelic Warrior, he'd actually be a really short price favourite. So if you are against Gaelic Warrior, you're maybe getting a bit of value on the Tide Turns, 8.6 currently on the Matchbook Betting Exchange. So he's the way I'd play into the race. And I really wanted, because there's a trend that I think 7 of the last 10 winners of the Boodles have come between the 26.0 and the 81.0. So 25 to 1 all the way to 80 to 1. And obviously we remember Jeff Kidder last year. So I was looking for ages for that kind of sweet spot, and just about found it in Prairie Dancer for 25.0 if for Joseph O'Brien and JJ Slevin's riding. If you watch his race last time at Ferryhouse, he was leading to start with, and he kind of like lost his ground. So he was like went from first to last in a race, maybe with about 7 or 8 runners, but he stayed on to ended up finishing second in that race to Iker Dalen, who's a very impressive Juvenile hurdler. So I don't know what happened in the middle of that race. Maybe that he might be more suited to a stiffer 2 mile test on the old course at Cheltenham. So there seems to be, like, I was looking at him last night at about 34.0. He's now into 25.0, which is a decent enough move in Cheltenham. So there may be a little bit of support for him. So that's the way I'm going to play the Boodles. A Prairie Dancer at 25.0 and the Tide Turns at 8.6. And look, if Gaelic Warrior does win, well, fair play to Connections, but I'm happy to take him on at the prices. And finally, International Hunt Chase. This is actually my strongest fancy of the day and my nap of the day. It's Run Wild Fred. I shouldn't really ruin my nap, but I've done it anyway. It's Run Wild Fred. I think he's a really solid favourite. Like, I think the money's finally coming for him. For ages, like, Statler was favourite over Run Wild Fred, and I just couldn't see it myself. Like, Statler has the class that he could potentially outclass these, but I'm very worried about him staying the trip. And obviously the Albert Bartlett last year, he was very poor enough getting up the hill in the final furlong and a half. So Run Wild Fred, the only concern is maybe he's not as good a winner as you'd want, or as prominent a winner, given that he's only won 1 in about 10 chase starts, but he's got all the experience, which you do need in the National Hunt Chase. And even though it's becoming a more high-class race, given that obviously there's only 6 runners this year, I still think you need that class, so you need that experience over at fences. So Run Wild Fred for the Gordon Elliott team. Hopefully they have a big day, because I've tipped a couple of their horses, but he's the way I'm playing the National Hunt Chase. So I'll run through the selections really quick. Dicer Dynamo and Bring on the Night in the Supreme. We have Blue Lord and Magic Days in the Arkle. We have Does He Know and Vintage Clouds in the Ultima. Champion Hurdles a no bet. In the Mares, we have Queensbrook. The Boodles, we have Prayer Dancer and the Tide Turns. And we finish with the National Hunt Chase and Run Wild Fred. The too strong. I was struggling maybe for a second bet. I'm going to put up like I always like doing the multiples, because we have landed a couple of doubles, etc. So Dicer Dino and Run Wild Fred is the double. And basically, the rest of the day, enjoy it. Particularly enjoy the champion hurdle. But yeah, as I said, do like the video if you enjoy the content, if you'd like to see this over the next 4 days, and leave a comment in your festival nap. Again, I could be persuaded with a bet in the champion hurdle if you make a case in the Woodmount market. So let us know. Comment below. Give us a thumbs up. At the end of the day, it helps us reach more people, and I'd really appreciate it. So thanks very much, and I'll chat to you tomorrow.